When a serious grid collapse begins, store shelves do not empty in a random order. Some items disappear almost immediately, not because everyone is panicking, but because the people who understand emergencies know exactly what to grab first. And most of the time, it is not the obvious stuff. It is the practical items that solve real problems in the first few hours, while everyone else is still trying to understand what is happening. In this video, we are going through 20 items that are usually gone from stores in the first 6 hours of a grid collapse, and why these specific things disappear so much faster than most people expect. Number 1. Power banks. In the first moments of a serious grid failure, most people still think the outage will pass quickly. Then they look at their phone battery and realize that one device is now doing the job of 5. It is their flashlight, map, contact list, news source, payment tool, and emergency update screen all at once. That is why power banks disappear faster than a lot of people expect. Stores usually do not keep a deep supply, and once a few families grab 2 or 3 each, the peg hooks are empty. People who shop early are not buying them because they are trendy. They are buying time. And in the first 6 hours, time is what everyone is really trying to hold on to. Number 2. Car chargers. Right after power banks go, people move to the next backup they already own, but rarely think about before the outage: the car. A car becomes a charging station, a weather shelter, a radio, and sometimes the only place with a working USB port. That is why basic car chargers vanish so fast from convenience stores, grocery end caps, and auto aisles. They are cheap, small, and easy to overlook until the wall outlets stop mattering. The smart buyers grab one for every vehicle because they know a single charging point turns into a bottleneck right away. Once the power is out for more than a few hours, that little charger suddenly matters more than half the gear people bought last year. Number 3. Headlamps. After charging comes lighting, and this is where beginners usually make the same mistake. They reach for flashlights first, but experienced shoppers often go straight for headlamps. The reason is simple. In a blackout, your hands are never free for long. You are opening panels, carrying supplies, checking on kids, moving through stairwells, or trying to cook without dropping anything. A headlamp keeps light pointed where your eyes are already looking, and that makes everything easier. Stores also carry fewer headlamps than regular flashlights, so the section looks stocked until it suddenly is not. In the first 6 hours, the people who know what works do not want extra gear in their hands. They want both hands available from the start. Number 4. Batteries. Once the first lights and chargers leave the shelf, the next wave hits batteries, and charging cables go with them. This is where a lot of households get caught off guard because they assume they already have enough at home. Then they start checking drawers and realize most of the batteries are old, mixed, or the wrong size. AA and AAA go first because so many common items still depend on them, including lanterns, radios, thermometers, remotes, and some medical devices. Cables disappear for the same reason. Phones are useless if the cord is frayed or missing. These are not glamorous purchases, but in a real outage, boring items are often the first ones that become impossible to replace once everybody needs them at the same time. Number 5. Manual can openers. Then people shift from power problems to food problems, and that is where manual can openers quietly disappear. A lot of households do the right thing and buy canned food ahead of a storm, a blackout, or a wider grid issue. The problem is that many of them rely on electric can openers without even realizing it. The second that dawns on them, they go looking for the cheapest manual opener in the store, and suddenly the kitchen aisle gets cleaned out. It is one of those items that looks too ordinary to matter until the power is gone. That is exactly why it vanishes so early. A pantry full of canned meals is not much comfort if you cannot get into the cans when you actually need them. Number 6. Ready-to-eat food. Once the can opener issue becomes obvious, the food run changes shape. People stop thinking about long-term storage and start thinking about what can be eaten tonight, tomorrow morning, and maybe through the next day with little or no cooking. That is why ready-to-eat food disappears so fast. Tuna packets, peanut butter, crackers, shelf-stable milk, canned soups, fruit cups, jerky, protein bars, and simple snacks go before a lot of bulk staples. Dry beans and bags of rice still have value, but in the first 6 hours, people want food that does not need much fuel, much water, or much cleanup. The most useful food in the early stage of an outage is the food that removes work, not the food that creates more of it. Number 7. Water containers. After food, attention swings hard toward water. But the interesting part is that it is not always bottled water that disappears first. Refillable water containers, storage jugs, pitchers, and collapsible containers can vanish just as quickly because people realize they need a way to hold water while it is still available. Even if the taps are running for the moment, experienced shoppers know pressure can drop, service can become unreliable, or local guidance can change fast. So they buy containers first and worry about filling them right away. Stores rarely keep a huge number of these on hand because they are bulky and slow to restock. In a real grid emergency, the people who plan ahead are not just looking for water. They're looking for control over where that water goes. Number 8. Water filters. Not long after that, filters and replacement cartridges start disappearing too. This is usually the point where the calm shoppers separate from the late shoppers. The late shoppers are still focused on what gets them through the next few hours. The prepared ones are already thinking about the next few days. Pitcher filters, faucet filters, gravity systems, and spare cartridges do not always look urgent on a normal day, but they become high-value items the moment people realize bottled water is a short-term answer. The shelf depth on filters is often surprisingly thin, especially outside camping season. And once even a small number of prepared buyers show up, those shelves empty quickly. People are not just buying convenience at that point. They're buying options, and options matter when the outage stretches longer than expected. Number 9. Ice. Then comes one of the fastest-moving items in any power emergency: ice. Ice is simple, immediate, and useful the second you get home. It helps protect refrigerated food, keeps drinks and medicine cool, lowers stress in hot weather, and buys households a little time before everything in the fridge starts becoming a decision. That is why it disappears from gas stations, supermarkets, and convenience stores so fast. There is no complicated thinking involved. Everybody understands ice. The supply is also shallow because most places only have so much freezer space. And as soon as ice starts moving, coolers usually go right behind it because people realize cold only helps if they have somewhere to keep it. In the first 6 hours, ice is not just cold, it is breathing room. Number 10. Refills. After water and refrigeration concerns, the pharmacy becomes the next pressure point. Prescription refills can move very quickly when people are within legal refill windows and realize they may not get another easy chance for a while. The urgency is different from most store runs because it is not about convenience. It is about continuity. People who rely on daily medication do not want to gamble on store hours, delivery schedules, or crowded roads during a widespread outage. That is why pharmacy counters can back up early, even while the rest of the store still looks calm. For some households, a refill is more important than batteries, canned food, or almost anything else in the cart. The people who understand that do not wait around to see whether the power comes back soon. Number 11. Pain relievers. Right after refills, the over-the-counter medicine section gets picked over fast. Pain relievers, fever reducers, allergy medicine, stomach remedies, electrolyte drinks, and basic first aid items all start disappearing once people realize they do not want a minor health problem turning into a bigger one during an outage.
The reason this section moves so quickly is that it covers a lot of households at once. Even people who are otherwise relaxed about the situation usually want some kind of backup for headaches, fever, upset stomach, dehydration, or a long night without sleep. The shelf space looks generous until a few families start buying extras. Then it thins out fast. In the first 6 hours, health basics move early because discomfort feels much bigger when normal services are less reliable. Number 12. Baby formula. Formula is one of the first truly non-negotiable items to vanish because families with babies do not have the luxury of waiting to see how things play out. If a household depends on formula, that need is immediate, specific, and hard to substitute safely. That is why the baby aisle can empty faster than people who do not use it would ever expect. Another reason it disappears so quickly is simple shelf depth. Stores do not carry endless backstock, and once several families buy more than usual, the section starts looking thin almost right away. In the first 6 hours of a grid emergency, formula is one of the clearest examples of how fast an ordinary item becomes critical. For the families who need it, there is no backup plan built on guesswork.
Number 13. Diapers. Right next to formula, diapers usually start thinning out almost immediately. People sometimes laugh at how quickly they go, but the reason is straightforward. Diapers take up space, households move through them fast, and nobody wants to be short even for a single day. Once families realize they may not have easy access tomorrow, they buy extra today. That turns a normal aisle into a shortage faster than most shoppers expect. The same thing happens with training pants and pull-ups because the need is constant and very practical. In the first 6 hours, bulky essentials with high turnover disappear faster than a lot of expensive gear. That is one of the most useful preparedness lessons for beginners. The items that look ordinary on a normal day are often the first ones to become urgent during a bad one. Number 14. Pet food. Then people remember the animals, and when they do, pet food can move unbelievably fast. Dry food, canned food, cat litter, and simple pet care items are often stocked in narrower quantities than people assume, especially in smaller stores. The first wave of shoppers is focused on their own household. The second wave realizes they forgot a daily need for the dog or cat, and then the pet aisle starts getting stripped. What makes this important is that pet food is hard to improvise correctly, especially if an animal has a sensitive stomach or specific routine. So people do not like taking chances. In the first 6 hours, pet supplies often disappear not because of panic, but because owners do the math and realize they cannot just fold an animal's needs into the family pantry without problems. Number 15. Baby wipes. After food, water, and pharmacy basics, hygiene starts moving to the front of the line, and baby wipes are usually one of the first things to go. They are not just for babies, and that is exactly why they vanish so fast.
In an outage, wipes help with quick cleanup, personal hygiene, hand cleaning, and keeping things under control when water needs to be used carefully. People who have been through long outages before understand that sanitation problems show up earlier than most beginners expect. Once that clicks,
The baby aisle gets hit by shoppers who were never planning to buy baby products at all. The useful thing about wipes is that they solve several small problems at once, and in the early hours of a disruption, that kind of flexibility makes a plain item suddenly very valuable. Number 16. Contractor bags. Then there are the heavy-duty trash bags, especially contractor-grade ones, and these go for a reason that has nothing to do with regular trash day. In a serious outage, waste control becomes part of household management very quickly. Strong bags help with cleanup, damaged food, wet clothing, keeping gear dry, lining containers, and containing messes when normal routines stop working. The thicker versions also disappear first because they do not tear the way thin kitchen bags do. Most people do not think about them until they need them, which is why prepared shoppers grab them early while everyone else is still focused on more obvious sections of the store. They are not exciting, but they solve a lot of low-level problems that can make a difficult day feel much worse if you do not have them.
Number 17. Work gloves. By this point, another need becomes obvious. People still have to do physical work even when the lights are out. That is why work gloves disappear from hardware aisles so early. You see it whenever there is storm damage, broken glass, fallen branches, cold weather hauling, or just a long day of moving heavy items in and out of storage. Bare hands get cut, scraped, and worn down fast, and small injuries become much more annoying when everything else around you is already harder than usual. Experienced shoppers know gloves are not just for big repair jobs. They are for the hundred small tasks that come with cleaning up, carrying, sorting, and protecting your hands from needless damage. In the first 6 hours, practical protection moves faster than people expect because the need becomes obvious almost immediately. Number 18. Duct tape. Somewhere around the same stage, duct tape starts disappearing too, especially the better quality rolls rather than the bargain versions. People buy it because it fixes small problems quickly, and during an outage, quick fixes matter. It can secure loose plastic, label containers, bundle cords, reinforce a torn handle, mark off a cracked area, or help keep things organized while a proper repair has to wait. What matters here is not the dramatic version people talk about online. It is the boring household reality. When the normal rhythm of the home breaks down, little failures start stacking up, and tape is one of the few cheap items that can immediately reduce that friction. That is why the shelf looks full until it suddenly is not. Once people start problem solving, good tape goes with them. Number 19. Paper backups. One of the most overlooked items to disappear early is paper backup gear. Road atlases, local maps, notebooks, pens, markers, and simple folders. The reason is not nostalgia. It is that phones are useful only as long as they stay powered, stay intact, and still have the information you need at the right moment. In a major outage, people suddenly remember that they do not know key phone numbers by heart. They do not have written addresses for relatives, and they have never looked at a paper route out of their area. That realization sends a small but very focused group straight toward office supply and travel sections. These are not flashy purchases, but they become surprisingly important once people understand how much of their normal life is locked inside one charged device. Number 20. Hand crank radios. And once people realize that battery life, phone service, and internet access can all become uncertain at the same time, hand crank radios start to make perfect sense. A basic radio does one thing extremely well during a widespread outage. It gives you another stream of information that does not depend on your phone being alive. That is why they disappear quickly from hardware stores, outdoor sections, and emergency displays whenever people think the disruption could last.
The experienced buyers are not chasing entertainment. They want updates, weather information, public instructions, and a way to stay less blind if digital systems get crowded or go down. In the first 6 hours, that shift matters. The households that stay calmer are usually the ones that can still receive useful information after everyone else is left refreshing a screen that no longer helps.